What up, YouTube? Xeramus555 here, coming to you guys with a deck profile. I know it's been a long time. Very busy with school, of course, and everything else. Without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. I am doing a deck profile for GEARGIA. I've had all this stuff for this deck for a long time. I just never really put it together because I was waiting for GEARGIA to get reprinted, and he did a couple months ago, and then I just kind of never put the deck together, and then I realized I was like, you know what? It's really cheap, it's really good, and I mean, I was getting kind of bored of Invectors, and I feel like Pure Karakuri, as amazing as it is, it gets a little boring because you sit there and kind of touch yourself for like 5 minutes until you make this like unstoppable board, and then you just see if your opponent can play around it, which they generally can't, and then you just win. So, but anyways, this is not the usual version. I'm not running the Karakuri version. I am running the Machina version. Reason being, is I'll talk to you about when I get to it. So, anyways, without further ado, I know I already said that. Starting things off, 3 GEARGIA armor. I think this guy's really, really good. Although the problem with this deck that I find, and this is why I don't really like the Karakuri version, I've noticed a lot in testing, especially compared to playing keyboard, especially compared to playing pure Karakuri, is that if you lose the die roll, you're basically going fourth. Because you pretty much have to set the armor and set backwards turn 1 if you want to have a good opening. This is another reason why I'm running the Machina version. So if I open armor or arsenal, get to armor, and I just like go second, so they've already set up their board presence. This guy doesn't do anything really in attack mode, so I just have to set him and end with some back row. And then basically it goes to their turn, and they're going to try and do stuff, and I have to try and stop them, and if I can't, I lose. And if I do, then finally on my next turn, I can flip this up and hope he's going to go off. And by that point, that's turn 4. I really don't like that. It's really slow. And the other problem is the Karakuri version just draws really bad hands. I've noticed, like, as much as I like the Karakuri tuners, I just feel like by themselves they do absolutely nothing, and a lot of times you draw really inconsistent hands. So I decided to try the Machina version, and it still has OTKs. I unfortunately don't have Big Eye or Draco Sack because they're still way too much money, and I smell a reprint in the air soon. So I'm just being patient like I did with GEARGIA because you got a reprint too. He took a bit longer than I would hope, though. But yeah, basically the Machina version is great because it does have the access to rank 7s as well. But it's just the fact that Fortress is just a really big monster. So, you know, and he's easy to drop because this deck always has a ton of hand advantage. Like, I've had games where I start my turn off with like 9 cards in hand or 8 cards in hand because the opponent's like attack armor and it's flipped up, and I've, you know, just whatever else. Like, it's just crazy. So triple arsenal, I was running 2, but I just realized you have to run 3. I don't think you have to, but I feel like you do. It just opens consistency, and there's some games where you just open really awkward hands. He does suck if you draw him with like a couple armors or 1 armor already, just because he's a little slow by himself. But he's still a 1700 beater or 19 with the accelerator on the field, so which I think you have to run 3 of. I do need another super, but guess see what happens with the ban list. And then the GEARGIANO engine, the 3 MK2s, the 1 GEARGIANO. This guy's actually really good. I think he's much better in the Karakuri version, but he's still cool because I've done combos where like I will tribute him to special bat gear frame, like equip it to to Fortress, knowing my opponent has like Mirror Force set, and then like attacking, and then they have to use the Mirror Force or they can't because the Fortress just won't die. So it's quite interesting. But that's the whole Machina, or sorry, the GEARGIA engine. On the Machina engine, I'm running triple gear frame. Reason being is, like I said earlier, he's great because he allows you to basically, if you lose the die roll and you go, other than obviously gear, he lets you like normal summon on the second turn and still get your plus, and then still have board presence. You know, he kind of gets your things going from there. I just feel like he adds consistency to the deck's weakness, which is ultimately losing the die roll. So, obviously with the Karakuri version, you don't have as many cool combo plays, which I find the combos in the Karakuri version are amazing. They're just so good, but once again, you're throwing away consistency for the option to have like a Stardust Dragon and stuff. And that's the one thing I do miss in this build is I love Stardust Dragon in the regular build, but once again it's being able to get him out without any response. Just 2 Fortress, and then I'm also running the 1 Cannon. I just feel like I don't have the rank 7 guys, so I just feel like 3 Fortress is kind of pointless, and you can just get them back anyway. So I'm just running 2 and 1, and so far it's running really well. Fortress is still a really good card. 2500 is still pretty decent. It doesn't get over Draco Stack or Big Eye, which is a problem. But you can always crash and pop. And if they want to like pop them with Bear, you get to look in their hand first and stuff. So that's pretty sexy. 2 Effect Veilers. I was thinking about running 3, but I think 2's fine for right now, especially because I'm running 3 Phoenix Drain. So that's it for the monsters. I think it's 20, pretty sure. Spells, 3 MST. I was running Upstart Goblins, but I took them out just because I don't like giving my opponent life points because this is more of a control build. And then I'm running Dark Hole and Book of Moon. A lot of people are cutting this out, but I still think it's really good against water, and it's really good against fire. 3-axis Fire Fist if they happen to go first and make a lot of board presence. So under the traps, I'm still kind of testing these out, but triple GEARGIA gear, obviously. I still not sure about 3. Like I know I get the logic behind it is you want to open up with it, but I've had so many games where like I've opened a GEARGIA gear like GEARGIA and MK2, and I'm just like, oh, because you have to special the other 2 MK2s from your deck, and then you're just like stuck with a dead GEARGIANO in hand. Luckily, this version can dump that stuff easier than the regular one, but it's just this card's just super busted. A lot of people say it's going to go to 1. I could actually see it going to 1. But we'll see what happens, I guess. I really don't think it's that broken just for the fact. I think it will be more broken when we get the MK3 guy, though. That's going to kind of put it over the limit. But I think right now it's not bad. But I think that Konami might keep it at 3 just for the next format, just to up the GEARGIA sales in the next set. But I guess we'll have to see what happens. Triple Phoenix Chain, I think you have to run 3 this format, and decks run back row. I think 2's okay, but I feel like 3 is just like you want to draw it. It's basically your Veiler if you go first, but then you also run Veiler just if you go second, you just stop their plays. I'm still running 2 Mirror Force. This card's awesome. I don't know why people are taking it out. A lot of times people just play right into it, and you know, especially with this deck, since you always have like several back row set. And bad players will blind MST against your back row, and a lot of times if they blind us to your back row, they can hit a GEARGIA gear, which they're afraid of, because then you just go mega pluses off of it. So I find a lot of players aren't blind MSTing as much unless they're bad and you're playing on Dueling Network or Death Pro, of course. But saving your MSTs is really important. I am then playing the 4 important traps. I actually like Torrential quite a bit in here just because of the gear frame. You can equip gear frame and then it just keeps your field alive. Then for the last 2 traps, I have 1 called Haunted. I think 2's better in the other version because you can do cool combos, or you can bring back the Karakuri synchros, or you can bring back like the tuners and keep doing combos. But I like it in this version at 1 just because you know, some neat little things where you can, like, of course you can bring back Armor himself, which is nice. But the fact that you can bring back Fortress for 2500 beater I think is actually pretty decent as well. It's just a good card as well. If they blind MST it and you chain it and you have an Accelerator in the grave, it'll special and then it'll get its effect off and you can have back a GEARGIA monster. So you can grab back like MK2 and then have a XYZ play next turn. And the last card runs Trapstone. I was running 7 tools. I really like 7 tools, but I find like playing against decks that run like a ton of back row and they just set 4. 7 tools is great against like one of those cards. And then 7 tools is also really good because it stops this card as well when you have a bunch of traps set. But I feel like 1's just that nice number if I draw it. It's good. If I was running the Karakuri version, I'd run 2 trap stuns, but I feel like with this version it's more control, just the 1's fine if I need to make a advantage push. So that is 40 cards. It's running really well, actually. I like it, personally I like it better than the Karakuri version, just because I play pure Karakuri already though. So. For monsters, we have 3 GEARGIA X. I think you need 3 in this build. I see a lot of people just running 2 in the Karakuri engine, which is fine, or version, which is fine. You don't go into them as much in that, even with the 3 GEARGIA gears. But this version, since you have gear frame and then everything else, you make them a lot. And just the fact that you can grab gear frame, like this deck has an amazing combo turn 1. Is like if you have this set. I feel like this combo is a lot more potent than the Karakuri one, because the Karakuri one can get stopped pretty easy. So this one, if you have a set, you just flip them up, you add an accelerator, you special it, you overlay for Gear Gigant, and then you're just going to detach one of the other. Doesn't really matter. And then you just search out Gear Frame. You normal summon it, and then you search, and you basically your one armor becomes Gear Gigant with a Gear Gigant with a Gear Frame equipped, and then you're also still left with you know, the Fortress or the Reborn guy in your hand, so cannon. So it's quite good. It's just a really, really powerful turn 1 combo, and I just feel like with 3 gear, you might as well run 3 of him as well. So, plus I have space in here since I don't have the Draco Sack, unfortunately. Draco Sack's the one you make the most. 1 Black Shipicorn, he's just good. He's poor man's 101, but he's definitely not as good. I'm definitely missing 101 and Exciton in here. I think they are necessary if you're going to play this on like a really high competitive level, but without them, I think it's quite fine. The 1 Photon Papillopera is just nice because you can do cool combos with it, and it's not bad. Darmodar Wolf, Roach, just for heretics and stuff. 1 Maestro, Dweller for water, Cowboy because he's Cowboy. For 3s, Leviathan Dragon. Since I'm running 3 Gear Gigant as well, it's a lot easier to, and with this version, it's a lot easier to make Gear Gigant and recycle your MK2s and then keep plays going. So I run quite a few rank 3s, but yeah, Leviathan's the biggest one. I also run Alucard for popping back row. Levier just for plays to special back banish stuff. You have the room, so Soul Silver Mountain, he's great because he hits those back rows, and he can also special back when you're Gear Gigant monsters. That's quite neat. Zen mains, and then I am running 2 Synchros, just Crimson Blader and Scrap. I don't run Stardust. They're just in case I have like a Fortress on the field already, and I have Valor in hand. I'm playing a deck that doesn't necessarily take or isn't affected by Valor, so I can just like summon it and make an 8. So, anyways, guys, that's the deck. Hopefully you liked it. I think it's really fun. I prefer it over the machine or the Karakuri version, like I said. And if you are just playing the Karakuri version, you're getting tired of drawing crappy hands, I recommend trying this out. I find that the mirror match, though, you generally lose against the Karakuri version just because it can spam faster. But it really just comes down to if they draw Trapstun. Trapstun's ultimately the card that really wrecks. And I think Trapstun's a busted card. I think it needs to go down to 1, but I guess we'll see what happens. I may have a ban list prediction video coming up pretty quick here. I'm not sure who I'm going to deal with, but hopefully I can find somebody. Anyways, maybe Jason. I'd love to do a freaking... Jason, if you see this, you should do a freaking ban list video with me. We need to do a video together, bro. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Peace.